GoPro with this too, you can see.
Okay, it's yours.
Paul, welcome to Night Flight.
Great to be here.
Now filling. Paul, welcome to our show.
It's good to be here.
Got Animalize coming out. Tell us about it. What does the title mean?
Animalize. I guess it's probably, there's so many people who are trying to reach this high plane of existence, and reading the I Ching or trying to figure out, what the dirt in their navel means. And basically what we're trying to say is people have to animalize. People have to take a couple of steps backwards. Everybody's forgetting that they're human beings and trying to become machines. Well, human beings have just evolved from monkeys, so let's make like the monkeys.
After the success of Lick It Up, did you try to follow the same pattern for songwriting? I know. Go ahead.
Hey, it's your show, pal.
Same pattern for songwriting as Lick It Up?
Same songwriting pattern we always use. I mean, basically, we only write about things that we know. And the things that we know most about are living well and women. I mean, that's a pretty tough life.
Tough life. But there was a period there a couple of years ago where KISS got away from playing heavy metal.
Right.
Now you're back to it. So there wasn't always that one singular style. What brought you back to playing heavy metal?
Realizing that we didn't know what the hell we were talking about. I think, we've done so many albums, and most bands don't put out the amount of albums that we've done, especially in the period of time. And, some people were saying, boy, man, it's time for you to show everybody how bright you are and that you're really, these incredibly brilliant guys. So, stop trying to find a new word that rhymes with luck, and I don't know, we just went off and tried to be a little smarter than we should have been. And that was due in part to listening to people whose opinions we really valued. Mm-hmm. But, they were wrong.
All right, cut. We have a mic problem. Not on your answer, on your question. Okay. Sorry. Okay, but let him finish the question if his audio is good. Okay? Yes, so you allow him to finish. Okay? And then we'll stop.
I don't know what the problem is. That mic was working before. Hey, I stopped tape, right?
So you stopped tape?
I stopped my tape. Yeah.
Sorry about this.
That's all right.
I think you're used to technical problems.
That's okay.
Richard?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to Billy's album again on the way out.
Continue. It'll start from the top again.
Oh, so go back over Animalize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
We just repeat the question.
Are you ready to go?
We have speed and...
One
Well, we've got a
second.
little powder coming.
One.
Hi, how you doing?
Give him a test on that mic.
Talk to me, Andy.
Hi, can you hear me now? Is this okay? Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Good, okay. Then we're ready to go. All these attendants waiting hand and foot. What a tough life.
Well, this is the best I've seen yet. I'm going to put the shine back on my nose. I'm putting the shine back on my nose. Are you kidding?
We ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Paul, tell us about Animalize, the new album.
All right, Andy, start again, please.
You're
Paul?
perfecting your lines.
I know, that's the truth. Paul, you got a new album out now called Animalize. Tell us what Animalize means.
Well, basically, I think, this is the 80s, and everybody's trying to advance to some higher plane of existence, and people are reading all these fancy books and getting into the I Ching and all this kind of nonsense. So what we're trying to tell people is you're better off taking a couple of steps backwards, because, man is basically just a few steps past the monkey. So I'm much happier being in the trees than I would be being an IBM computer. So I think it's time everybody just animalized a bit and took a couple of steps backwards, Let's not forget our roots.
But there's this whole heavy metal resurgence going on now. Do you feel KISS is part of that, or are you beyond that, being one of the first true heavy metal bands?
I don't want to champion anything, I don't want to, I don't think Ford went out and championed the car. Ford went out and talked about Ford because, everybody's got something to offer, and I don't want to come out here and talk about all my pals in heavy metal or something, because, we're a band, and we do what we do, and it's different than what other bands do, and I don't want to I don't want to be lumped together with anybody else, if I can help it, because that may be real comfortable for somebody who needs to put things in categories, but I don't want to be put in a category, and I don't think we should, because all along we've made our own rules. And if there's other people who are now playing the game by our rules, well, more power to them, but welcome aboard.
Well, how do you feel about the newer bands coming along? It seems like everybody with more than one Marshall stack is getting signed.
Right.
Do you view that as healthy or not?
I think it's great, I think what ultimately counts is what people like. And what having a lot of bands around does is gives all you people out there a chance to like something or not like something. And nobody's forcing anybody to buy records or to go to see concerts. So crap is crap, and nobody's going to go for it more than once. So, hey, if you've got green hair and it sells a record, great. I hope you can follow it up with another.
But ironically, just as KISS dropped makeup a couple of years ago, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Rat have all emerged using makeup as an integral part of their show. How do you view that?
They're smart. I think it's great, and I think it's real good. I don't want to be judged how heavy I am by what I had for breakfast or by how many studs I have on. So we've done what we've done, and we'll continue to do whatever we feel like doing, but I don't want to look like the bands that are wearing black leather and studs because we once did it, or the bands that are wearing makeup because we once did it. I think if the public gets something great out of it, that's all that counts. We're out there sweating our butts off trying to do the best show we can and give people the best show that's really possible. We're trying to get ourselves off, and if we get off, we figure the audience gets off.
Right.
If there's other bands out there that are doing something that's similar, well, then they learn from the best. So, hey.
7 years ago, KISS was the biggest band in the world. You went through a period of misdirection, should we say, where many different paths were tried. How close do you feel you are now to getting back to that glory day of 77 or 76?
I don't want to recreate anything. I think that people run into difficulty when they're trying to make something, they're trying to make today yesterday. Elvis wasn't Frank Sinatra, and the Beatles weren't Elvis, and everything has to stand on its own. And the 80s aren't the 70s, and I don't know that we'll ever be what we once were, because that had all different reasons for being what it was. I mean, that was a phenomenon, and the makeup and everything else really did something great. But I don't want to spend my life recreating anything. If what we do is good, it shows in being accepted. And the more people accept it, I take it to mean that it's good. I never wanted to be a starving artist. I don't want to paint the Sistine Chapel. I want to make Wonder Bread for the public. That's what I'm trying to do. I try to do something that's accessible to everybody.
Was there ever a time, though, a couple of years ago, when KISS was not at the peak, you said, okay, time to try something else. Enough of this. If anything, all I ever want to do was get back to doing what was most comfortable. You can't do that overnight. But I think when you realize you're doing something that's not comfortable, it still takes a little time to get it back to what you want it to be. I think everything's good for something, and everything that we did before makes us stronger today at what we do. And the mistakes you make, if you learn something from them, will make what you do that much better. I think our records really stand on their own for what they are. Makeup, no makeup, bombs, no bombs, platform boots, no platform boots. We're putting platform boots in our next record. All right.
That's right.
How would you view Animalize as compared to Lick It Up? Is it a continuation? Is it Lick It Up Part 2? Is it substantially different?
I think it's better. I think the material's better. I think the playing's a lot better. And the singing's a lot better. And I was real pleased with Lick It Up for what it was. I think Animalize is like Lick It Up, better realized. You try to take each album and make it a better version of the one before it. I mean, all I'm trying to do and what we want to do is perfect what we do. I think Animalize is real good. Mark St. John is, it's just killer guitar playing. I listen to that album and I hyperventilate when it's over.
Well, since you bring up Mark, tell us how he joined the band. Last time we know about KISS, Vinnie Vincent was in the band.
Right.
Now there's a new member, Mark St. John.
But it's interesting. Obviously, I don't like to see people come and go. I like things to stabilize. Eric's been in the band 5 years. 5 years is longer than a lot of bands have been together. So, I mean, the idea isn't to change members, but what is important is that the band is absolutely KISS and exactly what KISS should be. And when people start compromising or aren't comfortable doing what they're doing, then it's not really good for anybody. It's not good for the people out there that are watching this. They're ultimately the people who keep this thing alive. I mean, I love doing it, but if there's not people out there that are really digging it, then there's really not that much point in doing it. I think if you have a spat with your old lady or something, you patch it up. But if you have constant things that just don't seem to work out, then everybody's compromising. I don't want to compromise. They don't want to compromise.
Where did you find Mark? How did you come in contact with him?
Classified. Help wanted. Incredible lead guitar player. I called a guitar manufacturer, this guy who builds guitars for a lot of people, and said to him, "Who's around? Who's really good?" And he said, "Give me a day, and I'll give you 10 names." And he gave me a list the next day, and Mark was one of them. And he just fit real well. He didn't. I asked him to send a tape, and it didn't sound like Randy Rhoads, and it didn't sound like this guy, and it didn't sound like that guy, but it sounded great. It just felt right. And the playing on the record shows it.
As I was going to ask, you fit into the band very easily?
The playing on the record his playing on the record to me is one of the high points.
Well, as a guitarist yourself, do you feel bothered by the fact that a hot young guitarist is in the band? Do you feel threatened at all by that?
Well, he's no younger than I am. No, because I do what I do, and nobody can do what I do better than I do. I mean, that's the basic premise you have to do everything on, that you're the best at what you do. So all we're ever trying to do is make KISS the best it can be. And I think Mark's done a real great job in bringing it the next step. I think it's the playing is great. The band live's going to be great because we've been rehearsing and we got ready for the album. So I feel great. I'm not threatened by anybody. Well,
one of the key ways that KISS has really revitalized their career is the use of video. You had some great ones for Lick It Up. Now you have a new one, All Hell's Breaking Loose. Well, tell us about that one. What are you planning for that?
Thanks, Don Mueller. But the new video is Heaven's on Fire, as opposed to All Hell's Breaking Loose.
Right. Okay.
We haven't even shot it yet, but it's great.
What are you planning for it?
Basically, I want a video this time that when people see it, when it's over, they're out of breath. I want people to see a video and say, "Man, this is just like entering the Olympics." I don't want. I mean, how many more videos are you going to see where, the guy rescues the girl and her hair looks like she got it caught in a egg beater, and she's wearing the ripped up outfit that looks like she got it from the Amazon department at Bloomingdale's or something. So, I don't know. I think this video more or less is going to be us sweating as much as we can and letting off a little steam and performing and a couple of things thrown in, but you're not going to see us slaying any dragons and riding off into the sunset with the good-looking girl.
Going to be a lot of playing in it?
There'll be a lot of playing in it.
Where's it going to be done? In New York?
It'll be done in New York. It should be done in New York. I mean, it'll either be done in New York or L.A. It just depends on where everybody is at the moment.
Well, going back an album, though, the videos that you did for the last album portrayed a very particular type of lifestyle. Fire, women, just what you were talking about.
Right.
The Amazons, they were there last time.
Yeah.
Why are they not going to be here now?
Because they're tired and they're staying at the hotel. Because we did it, and there's no need to do it again. I mean, I don't want to be the band in the new video because all these bands that are out, well, you could take one out of one video and put it in the next video. They're just vehicles for a video. It's got nothing to do with the band. It's just a story, and there happens to be, it's an excuse to play a song. I don't want to do that this time. I want people to see what makes KISS what KISS is, and I want a video that when people see it, they say, "That's why I should see this band, because this band is hot, and this band can move, and this band puts out a lot of sweat and energy, not because we're snarling into the camera and have a lot of studs on."
Are you going to change the stage look at all? It's going to be the same thing that was on the last tour.
No, it's a new stage.
It's
What's the stage going to be like?
It's just being planned now.
No more tank.
No, the tank's gone. Tank's gone to the tank graveyard. But I tell you, I mean, at this point, if I told everybody out there in TV land what we're going to do on the next stage, you better believe you'd see it next week.
True.
You know. So I think we'll keep it under wraps, but it'll be real good.
One topic I got to bring up is KISS was one of the first bands accused of demonic influences, you know, Kids in Satan's Service and all this other stuff. How do you view this whole phenomenon with Motley Crue and so many other bands where the Satan and rock whole crusade is stronger than ever?
I don't know. I'm not really in touch with it. But everybody's got to make a buck on either side of the fence, man. I mean, either you're the guy who's standing up, going from town to town in your Learjet talking about religion and saying that rock and roll is bad, or you're the guy on the other side who's playing up being real mean and making a buck that way. But they should just kind of like incorporate and make all their money together. Because I'm sure the bands want to ride on the Learjets also.
Now, I was just curious because it seems like it's more prevalent than ever. There's more of a controversy about it than ever. Do you still feel, when you're on the road, the heat of certain groups that are protesting in front of the shows, we'll say?
The only heat from any group I feel is usually back at the hotel. But I'm not really in touch with any of that stuff. I mean, if you get your rocks off going outside a hall for a concert with some kind of placard, more power to you. We'll see you on the next tour. But it's not. It's boring. I mean, it's even boring to talk about.
Right.
I mean, those guys. I mean, they're wearing custom-tailored suits, and they look like they have a private hairdresser doing their hair every day, and they're selling religion. I mean, to me, you can't get more corrupt than that.
Changing the subject a second, though, it seems like KISS is branching out. Gene is making a movie, Runaway with Tom Selleck.
Right.
He just produced Wendy Williams' album. We've heard you're going to produce the new Girls' School album. Is that true, or is that just a rumor?
That was a rumor. I mean, I've been asked to do a lot of stuff. I was asked, actually, to do some of the bands that are out now, but I haven't had the time. I'd like to do some acting and stuff, but if everybody's running off doing other things, well then, where's the band? So we have to be real careful that somebody's around, to keep things together. I mean, I produced the new KISS album, and I loved doing it, and I would have wanted to do it in any case. But you can't be in two places at once. Remember that. You can't be in two places at once.
Words to live by.
That's right.
Did you feel extra pressure, though, without Gene there? Is just an extra pair of ears to bounce ideas off of when you were producing the album?
It was different. It was different than before, but I felt real good about it because I knew what I wanted this record to sound like. I had real clear ideas of what I thought this record should be, and I think that's basically what it is.
Now, give me a rundown, just a couple of cuts, a couple of your favorite tunes on there, and what they might be about.
Well, there's nine of my favorites happen to be on this record. Let's see, there's a song, I've Had Enough. Real catchy title. Basically, I mean, everybody's going through what they got to do every day, and everybody is being told by bosses to do this, do that, or teachers, and just taking crap from a lot of people. And that's basically what we're taught is what life is all about. Life is that you got to accept things from different people, and you got to take getting booted in the ass or whatever happens to go on. Can I say ass on the air?
Just a bit.
Booted in the butt. And I mean, at some point, it's time for people to wise up and say, I've had it. That's it. I've had enough, and wise up. And that's what starts off this album. And those are pretty good words to live by. You've had enough.
When you do a song like that, though, when you first write it, are you thinking about performing it on stage or putting it on vinyl? Is there a difference?
I don't think for us there's not a difference because we tend to write a certain kind of song. And the songs that I write and that Gene writes are written by live human beings with blood pumping through every organ of their bodies. And, I enjoy playing the stuff live, and that's what it's written for. I mean, if it sounds great live, it's going to sound great on vinyl.
I know some bands, though, are starting to write songs with videos in mind.
Right.
When you were doing Heaven's on Fire, when you were writing that, saying, hey, this will make a great video, or is that an afterthought when everything's done?
Never thought about it.
Well, that's a very visual band, one of the first bands that really brought theater into rock and roll. How do you view this whole video phenomenon? Is it something you've adapted to easily?
I think it's great. Video isn't really new. Video in that kind of format is new. I mean, every big band for the last 10 years has been doing videos. Videos are what you sent to different countries when you couldn't tour. You know, I mean, when we couldn't go to Europe, or we would send footage, or we would do songs in the studio. So video's been around a long time. Fantasies and all that stuff haven't been. And the format of doing a video show that's similar to radio, it's like watching radio. Mm-hmm. I think it's real good. I mean, it's real healthy. I mean, I think all the videos are great, but I don't think all the songs are great.
Right. Now, when you're going on the road, KISS spends 9 months a year on the road. How do you keep doing that, year after year?
Well, it's always interesting, because when you leave, you know that in 9 months you're going to come home and see the new baby. It's fun. I mean, you know, you can't do something, at least I can't do anything unless it's fun. And if I'm not really getting off doing something, I'd rather stay home. You know, I mean, my idea of fun isn't laying out on the beach in Tahiti or something like that. My idea of having fun is going on stage and giving it my all, and then mustering a little bit more after the show.
I see. That's really the key, right?
That's the key.
That's what keeps you going.
That's right. You gotta love what you're doing. I mean, it's no great shakes that you know, we've been doing this 10 years. I mean, we started earlier than a lot of other bands. So, you know, I mean, we're not exactly Chuck Berry, you know.
Could you ever see a day, though, where you say, I've had enough of this? And if you did, what would you do? Would it be production? Is there something else you'd like to try in life?
You know, I've been offered before production and acting and things like that, and I'd love to do all of those. But I won't compromise KISS for anything. I mean, this is what I love most. And if other things come along that I can do without compromising or diluting KISS, then I would do them. But at the moment, I don't want to.
Now, do you think that many of the people who are getting into KISS today harken back to the era of makeup in the Alive albums and Ace Frehley and stuff like that? Or is there a new audience that's come along in the new era, the no makeup, lick it up era?
Oh, I think there's people out there that think Lick It Up is the first album, which is great, because, you know, I mean, like I said, we've done a lot of albums and we've covered a lot of ground, but we also started before a lot of bands. And if what KISS meant today was only that we're the band that a lot of other bands drew their influence from, well, then I'd rather be bronzed than put in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the reason we tour is because I think we're better than anybody else. Because if I didn't think that, I'd rather stay home and pat myself on the back all day.
Could you ever see a time, though, a couple of years from now, and say, hey, one more tour with makeup? Just the old days.
Never. You know, what's most important is to always respect what you've done. And we did some great things, and we accomplished some great things. And you hold those things sacred. And the way to hold them sacred is to respect them. And the makeup isn't something I would put on as a goof. And it's nothing I would put on to make somebody happy when I know that it's the past. The present and the future is what's important. And you build on what you've done before. You don't lean on it.
And if you had to look over the 10 years, we'll say, of the band's history, or more now, is there one continuing ingredient that you say has...
Women.
Musically, I'm talking about, Paul. Would it be that KISS is truly a commercial heavy metal band, that you always seem to get that hit song, that hit single? Is that something you always strive for?
We don't strive. We strive to make music, and we strive to put on the kind of show that we enjoy doing. And if we sell records, and if there's somebody out there who wants to say commercial like that and kind of sneer at it, it's probably because they don't know how to write good songs. You know, if we appeal to more people over a period of time than some other bands, that's to our credit, but it's not something we work at. We're not different than our audience. And when you start locking yourself away in Graceland like Elvis did, or locking yourself away somewhere, you're not in touch with the people. And once you're out of touch with the people,
then how can you reflect what's going on when you're not one of them?
Right.
You know, I mean, I walk the street, and I want people to come over to me and say, hi, what's going on? And people come over to me all the time and do that. And I want to know what people think of the shows, and I want to know what people think of the records. I want to know what's important in everybody's life. And as long as it's the same thing that's important in mine, I can do this and really believe it.
Looking back over the years, though, is there any one thing you'd say, hey, I'd like to change that? Maybe we put out too many records in too smaller period of time, the solo albums, whatever, doing a disco single or a metal disco single.
Right.
Is there one thing that you regret, or?
Well, there were two blondes in Nebraska.
Always wants to go back to Nebraska for, right?
I have no regrets. You know, you do things that may not always be the smartest thing, and I don't regret them. And I don't regret anything I've ever done. It's without all the ups, you couldn't have the downs, and without making all the right moves, you wouldn't have the opportunity to make a couple of bad ones. And there's nothing wrong with falling on your face once in a while.
Right.
You know, it makes you a lot smarter. It makes you a little closer to the ground also.
One thing I do want to ask, though, is, you know, KISS has always been the leader of rock and roll outrage, so to speak. Is there ever a line that you see, not so much for the band, but in the whole heavy metal rock and roll scene, where bands will cross that line? It seems like everybody's always topping somebody else. A new band like Wasp, for instance, you know, drinking blood from a skull. They have a woman on a rack. Is there a line where you can cross over to go too far, do you think?
I think so. I think marrying goats is like totally without any basis, you know, and that's about it. Or trying to teach a gorilla to play the guitar. I'm against those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, that's happening a lot these days, both those things. On stage, as a matter of fact.
I think when that happens, we've gone too far. Other than that, you know where to reach me.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you here, and thank you very much, and best of luck with the album and tour.
Those are the people we love.
Thanks.
Need the IDs, I think.
Okay. I just want to give them a chance to do the IDs, and we're running a little behind schedule here.
Thank you. That was terrific.
Terrific. Even without bologna.
Now, we have enough bologna right there.
Really? You can't get much more baloney than this.
Excuse me, sir, give me a couple of IDs
Sure.
for us.
Yeah.
All right, this is something that came up. This is Paul Stanley from KISS. Get ready for Metal Mania on Heavy Metal Heroes. Up next on Night Flight.
Jesus.
Say all that?
How tight a shot is this?
Your
How
nose.
did you like it?
Everything but...
I want this on my lap. How's that?
Now, you can do it. But can you read that?
I just want to read it a couple times. Get ready for Metal Mania. Yeah, that's on Hip
Up
Jesus.
next on Night Flight. That's just one.
Well, somebody
No, Jesus will not be appearing.
But you don't have to read it just the way it is, because that was just...
What's the show called?
Okay.
Night Flight, Heavy Metal Heroes, Hit Parader Magazine's Heavy Metal Heroes, on Night Flight.
We're still rolling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling. Anytime.
Don't touch that dial. This is Paul Stanley of KISS ordering you to watch Heavy Metal Heroes. That's Hit Parader show on Night Flight. Don't move.
Good one.
Come on, Paul. We want to hit Parader Magazine's Heavy Metal Heroes. Come on.
Okay.
Now, live energy.
Don't you move. This is Paul Stanley of KISS. It's time to watch Hit Parader's Heavy Metal Heroes on Night Flight. I said that right? Watch, I'm going to do it again. I was warming up. Don't move. This is Paul Stanley of KISS telling you to watch Hit Parader's Heavy Metal Heroes. That's coming up next on Night Flight. Don't move.
Now, can you say, watch me this week on Hit Parader's Heavy Metal Heroes on Night Flight on the USA Network.
Oh, God.
Get this one right, you get a bologna sandwich.
I'll give you an A.
Okay. Don't move. This is Paul Stanley of KISS telling you you can watch me. Watch this. Don't move. I want you to stay at the TV until you see me this week. Paul Stanley of KISS on Heavy Metal Heroes. Hit Parader show. I'm going to do this again for Andy. Watch this. Okay. I'm ordering you to stay in front of your TV sets. This is Paul Stanley of KISS. I'm going to be on this week's Hit Parader's...
with those cue cards higher.
Don't move. This is Paul Stanley of KISS telling you I'm going to be the guest this week on Hit Parader's Heavy Metal Heroes on the USA Cable Network, Night Flight. Watch.
One more.
Well, give me...
That's it. Now it's up to you. Be creative. Don't forget to say Night Flight and USA Network.
Would you buy a record from this man? Don't move. This week on Hit Parader's Heavy Metal Heroes, you'll see me, Paul Stanley of KISS. That's Night Flight, USA Cable Network, this week. I'm looking for you.